You guys think you know the NHL draft? Think again. Tonight we're pulling back the curtain with the prospect Don, one of the most popular men around this time of year, especially when it comes to hockey prospects. From can't miss stars to sneaky late round gems, the Don knows what separates a future NHL stud from a draft day bust. But here's the twist. We're putting your picks to the test. How do your draft predictions stack up against the Don's? There's only one way to find out, so hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into another 2025 NHL mock draft. All right, we're here with the prospect on Mr. Anthony Donati. How's it going, Ann? It's a pleasure having you on the show.
It's great for having me. Thank you so much for that intro. That was awesome. Made me blush a little bit. This isn't a sunburn. This is that's awesome. So thank you guys so much for having me on.
Yeah, we're really excited. This is a kind of a cool episode we're going to do. We're going to try something different. So a lot of the viewers, if you guys were in last week, we did a viewers pick the Flyers draft, the Flyers mock draft, and that went really well. And so I figured, okay, what better way to get you on and have the viewers kind of interact and have a fun show than we're going to do a viewers versus the Don. So the viewers are going to do their consensus picks in the chat, same way as last week. And we'll put their pick for each Flyers pick up against your pick and kind of explain why you went where you went, or maybe you even pick the same guy. We'll see how smart some of our viewers are. All right, so we'll wait for some of the viewers to pile in here. Looks like they're all chiming in. T-Jew's on. Prospect Don, he's excited. Sounds like you got a fan there. Yeah. Flyers purgatory. Anyone but Martin. And you know what? While these guys are piling in here, Ant, what are your thoughts on Brady Martin? Because he's a guy that kind of got a lot of hype the last month or so, and he was rumored. I think it was Craig Button put out a list and had him going to the Flyers. And that's when everything started to really kind of kick up on Brady Martin. Then it's rumored that Utah wants him. Well, what do you make of the Brady Martin hype? Is it legit?
Yeah, it's definitely legit. I'm not as high on him as consensus right now. He's my 11th ranked player, but the thing is, like, he has had an extraordinary rise from the top to this class. His player comp was probably the best player comp he could have had at the combine, which was Sam Bennett after he just had the Conn Smythe. So he plays like Tom Wilson. He's 170 pounds. You bulk this guy up at 30 more pounds. I think you're going to have an absolute bull on the ice. That's his animal that during the Habs question that kind of scared a ton of prospects. I don't think that it would be good to be drafted 4 overall. 6 is a lot better than 4 in my honest opinion. I feel like it would be a really good way to recoup value if a team trades back to go get Martin, but Martin's not a bad player at all. He's more of a playoff player. I see Hot Take Hockey's over here too. Shout out. That guy's awesome. Came on to talk mock draft and he was great, but my pick would be definitely someone different for the Flyers. I think that it would be probably one of the bigger centers than Martin, but Martin's 6 feet. He's really good. I think his offensive ability is underrated. He has some untapped potential there. He's a good skater. I think this guy is going to be in the top 10, especially now, but probably top 5 if that even makes sense. But yeah, there's going to be someone that falls in this class to you guys.
Wow. Yeah. And I know Flyers fans are excited. And then with the news today with Trevor Zegras, I don't think that changes anything as far as draft strategy. I feel like they're in a position to get the best player available at 6. But now if they go ahead and draft a guy like Martone, it kind of, I don't want to say takes away the, that they need a center so desperately. It's like, okay, we have Zegras. We can slot him in. It's okay to take Martone, who I think, a lot of consensus out there. He's a top 3 player in the draft. Perfectly fine at 6 all of a sudden, right? If he's there, obviously.
Yeah. Martone is a fantastic player. He's 6'3". His skating gets knocked, but I asked Chris Peters, 4 years ago, his skating was a lot worse. He's only gotten better. If you get him into the NCAA or NHL coaching, this guy's going to be able to work on his skating a lot every single day, basically. So he's somebody that is a hockey encyclopedia. He's going to only think about hockey and skating and his weaknesses every day. He's an incredible playmaker. His vision is underrated. He's a really good scorer, and his shot is really, really good. I think it's top 5 in the entire class. You guys also get in the ability to take a faller if someone like Desnoyers falls, someone like Jake O'Brien falls, who I think is very underrated, 6'2" center, very good playmaking, great vision, power play specialist. And as I've heard, the Flyers power play was not the best thing in the world last year, and I feel like it could get a lot better with getting Mitchkov, getting Zegras together. Jake O'Brien is absolutely a great play for your power play in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I feel like that would be fantastic. You guys are in a good spot. I don't think you're going to take defense. I don't think there's one that really should be drafted here. But another player is James Haggins, who you guys can definitely take. He's a 5'11" center who obviously had 37 points in 37 games. I really do like his point production based on he was playing against 22 to 25-year-old men. I think that his offense is awesome. Great scoring ability, really good playmaker. He can't really get into the center of the ice against that more physical play, but I mean, he's 17, 18 years old. He was playing the Will Smith role with Ryan Leonard and Gabe Perreault between them. And I feel like he wasn't ready for that to go to the NCAA jump, similar with like a Logan Hensler, right-handed defenseman out of Wisconsin. If you're going to take a swing with your plethora of picks, I think you have 6 still in the top 50. You need to take somebody like a Jake O'Brien, maybe even a Roger McQueen sneaks in there, 6'5" center out of Wheat Kings. I just feel like you need to take an upside swing. Brady Martin is a floor player. He's going to be in the NHL, going to be middle 6 in my honest opinion. I want a guy that could be a number 1 center or a number 1 forward at that 6th selection, because you're going to get a faller. And this draft is really interesting where your picks in the like 31, 36, 40, and 48, you could potentially be getting a first round grade on your board just because of how weird this class is. And also with that 22nd and the 31st pick, you can trade back in. Say you leave the draft with Eklund and Frondell. Like that line would be absolutely incredible. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Eklund could fall because of his size. He could be at 13. If you guys trade like 20, 22 and 36, try to get up to 13, just take him. I feel like it would be fantastic if Frondell falls. It's going to be interesting what happens because I don't think Martin should go 4, but you guys are really well positioned.
Yeah, we're really excited. A lot of picks. It was 7. We mentioned we were talking before the show. They moved the 45th overall pick, so they now just have 6. I'm not sure if FC Hockey updated their picks. We'll see in a second. So we now have just about 100 live viewers, so that's enough to get started here. So I'll present my screen or share it. I'm still talking like I'm working. Okay, so we're at FC Hockey, NHLEntryDraft.com. For those of you that want to try this after the show or in your own time here, you go to Tools, go to Mock Draft Builder, and we can select our team. Now, I know you're based out of Chicago, correct?
Yeah.
Did you want to draft for Chicago in this too? Just to
sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So we'll select Chicago and we'll select the Flyers. And we'll just do the first 2 rounds. Start draft, and there we go. All right, so right off the bat, I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe it will. Consensus is these are the top 2 guys that are going to go. So the order in which they went doesn't really matter. Michael Misa went 1st overall to the New York Islanders. Matthew Schaefer went 2nd overall to the San Jose Sharks. That puts the Chicago Blackhawks on the clock. Prospect on. Who do you have them taken with their 3rd overall pick?
Well, if this is a what I think will happen mock, I think it's going to be Frondell. If it's a what I would do mock, it would be a different answer. It would be probably Porter Martone. I feel like he would be great with Connor Bedard there, but he's probably going to be the slipper. So I'm going to say Frondell with this pick at 3. Yeah, he's versatile, really good on the wing if you need him to. Really heavy shot, probably the 2nd best in the entire class to Carbonneau. I feel like Victor Eklund, if you watched a lot of those games, he was play driving a lot. So it would just kind of be best player available for what the Blackhawks need. And also the betting odds and everything I'm hearing is also saying Anton Frondell if he's not taken by the Sharks, which could happen. So Misa is my number one player, so this is kind of the board. I would think Misa, then Schaefer. But Schaefer's going to the Islanders, and I really hope Misa goes to the Blackhawks. So you never know.
Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to go Anton Frundell to the Chicago Blackhawks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Finalized.
Final answer. Yep. We have James Hagans to the Utah Mammoth, Caleb Denoyer to the Nashville Predators. And wow, would you look at this? So now the Flyers have a decision to make here. There's two wings at the top of this consensus. I think we chose consensus and not the FC Hockey ranking. So Martone, Victor Eklund, and Jake O'Brien are the top three on the board right now. Flyers fans, let us know in the chat who you would select, and then we'll discuss. And so prospect on of Porter Martone, Jake O'Brien, and Victor Eklund. Who are you going with here?
Well, before today, I had Jake O'Brien locked and loaded. And if the Ducks feel, and I don't think that they should make this decision based on Trevor Zegras because he has 1 year left of RFA, and he's also RFA, so you guys have his rights. I feel that it's still going to be Jake O'Brien because you still don't even know if he's going to be the pick at center for your team for Trevor Zegras. Obviously, Porter Martone would be a really good fit with them too. 6'3", right winger, really good size. But I think it would be Jake O'Brien.
Okay, there it is. It's locked in. Let's see what we have in the chat. Jay wants to trade down. I don't think he's too happy with the choices there. If they got to take a guy like hey, and look, I actually enjoyed watching Jake O'Brien in the games that I've watched. Anyway, he seems like a playmaking center, always looking to put the puck on somebody's stick. From what I've seen, he plays the game with conviction in the offensive zone. I think this is a guy, you mentioned power play. This is a guy that the Flyers could benefit with. The Flyers have a lot of wingers on this roster. Michkov, Tippett, Konechny, potentially Zegras now. And I'm leaving guys off the list, even Forrester, Brink. You get a guy like O'Brien in there in a couple years, and his point totals may be, I don't want to say inflated because that's not the right word. But when you're playing with guys like that, if you're maybe a projected 50, 60 point center, all of a sudden, maybe you're putting up 70, 75 points, something like that. You know what I mean? I would be okay with O'Brien. Prospect on wants O'Brien. It looks like in the chat, we have 3 votes, I think, for O'Brien here. Nobody's really that confident though. Prospect on. And if you had to convince them, what would you say?
Well, I think O'Brien's not the value pick in my opinion, but he's certainly close. I think the value pick would be Martone because he's higher in my rankings, and I also think that it was just he played really well with Hockey Canada with the men. You saw his what he did with Celebrini and those better players. The skating wasn't as bad in the international stage. He actually kept up, so I actually felt like that was a really good sign. Jake O'Brien is more raw. I think there's more risk that he could just be a 3C with upside, but I feel really good that he's not going to be, like, his floor is 3C. I think he is an NHL player. I think he is going to be a top 6 center, right-handed, 6'2". I think he'd be really good with Jet Luchenko probably on that 3rd C or 2C, depending on, I think Jake O'Brien should be your number 1 center. Really good vision. Every pass that he throws to Nick Lardis on the power play is flat. People call him a power play merchant, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. He's just incredibly well with space, time and space, and he's really great on the power play. You can't really teach that. I even asked him that at the combine, like, how are you so good with your vision, your passing, and your playmaking ability? He said he was just born with it. He was the best player in Brantford this year, and with the Bulldogs, and Nick Lardis scored 71, 72 goals. So you have to be really good. And they didn't even play on the same line. So I just feel like this would be a slam dunk pick if you're going to try to help your power play, if you're trying to help your other guys try to solidify a right-handed 6'2" center who I feel like has higher upside than a Kirby Dach, who was drafted 3rd overall in 2019. I think Jake O'Brien is just that guy.
Okay. It looks like so far, I mean, we only have 3 or 4 votes in, but the consensus in the chat is also Jake O'Brien. And maybe they're not, it's not a convincing vote, But I think the pick is fine. Jake O'Brien to the Flyers at pick 6. So the Flyers get a center. And we see Porter Martone go with the next pick. Victor Eklund to Seattle. Brady Martin to the Ducks. Sean Aitchison to the Penguins. I think he went there in our last mock draft. Roger McQueen to Detroit. Montreal makes out with Braden Coots and Cole McKinney. Benjamin Kindle to St. Louis. Cole Reshny almost fell a couple more spots. He goes to Columbus, and Radim Merca to Ottawa. That puts the Flyers back on the clock with pick 22. Chat, where do you want the Flyers to go with pick 22? And pick 22, we have Malcolm Spence, Carter Bear, Jack Nesbitt, Kerbin Limitov, Jack Murtaugh. You mentioned Logan Hensler earlier today. Where do you go with this pick?
If Carter Bear's on the board here, you run up to your phone and you get Carter Bear. Carter Bear is just a player that has so much upside. He should probably go top 12. He probably will. The FC board is all consensus probably, but I feel like that's just way too low for a guy like Carter Bear. You guys, you have so much assets with your picks and all of the picks. It's going to be Carter Bear here for sure. He's just, his player comp is Brandon Hagel. He plays with hard skill. He's very tenacious. Will go to the center of the ice. 2 years ago, he didn't think he was going to be in this position to be in the NHL draft, and all he's done was show that he's a really great down-to-earth player. My dog's going to come here because he loves Carter Bear. When I was on my interview with Carter Bear, my dog Bear actually kept howling, and I kept saying, "Bear, stop." And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And his dog started howling, but I was talking to my dog. So he's just a really good kid. Obviously plays with Landon Dupont over there in Everett. I really do like this guy's game, and I think he's going to be a middle six player for 15 years and a playoff player.
Wow, a Brandon Hagel and a Jake O'Brien in the same draft for the Flyers. That'd be pretty good for their first 2 picks. Huge Brandon Hagel fan. Love his game. That would be pretty sick to get Carter Bear with pick 22. And hey, it looks like the chat agrees with you there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Carter Bear votes. We have a Bill Zonin and we have a Jack Nesbitt. So let me ask you a question. Why not a Bill Zonin, who seemingly has been one of those guys also has kind of skyrocketed up the rankings a little bit late here?
I like Bill Zonin. I got to talk to him multiple times this season. I kind of say that he's like an owl. He's very strategic in his movement. He just got traded to Caleb Desnoyers' team, but he probably isn't going to be there because Desnoyers might go to Boston to play with James Haggins. I feel like Bill Zonin, he also played chess in like 4th grade and was a chess champion. This guy's incredibly smart on and off the ice. I feel like he is he's all hockey. He's going to be a middle six player. I think that honestly, I see him more of a third line player with upside. He is not really in the Carter Bear range. I think that you can get honestly him at 31 if he falls. I think he'll go somewhere between, 22 and 31. I actually think that that's kind of his range. I think Carter Bear's range is more 12 to 16. I do think that Montreal will pick him up with one of those picks. So if Bear is there, you have to take him. If there was no Bear, it would be a more of a difficult conversation, and probably I would go with Malcolm Spence because I really like how he plays. I think Bill Zonin is kind of on the outside looking into this selection. Maybe I will say, like I will predict, like you can totally go with Coots or Reshny or Kindle, all like under 6 feet players that were very productive in their respective leagues. But it's Carter Bear here, and maybe if Bill Zonin falls to you, he falls, but you don't reach for Zonin here.
Okay, let's lock it in. I think the chat agrees with you. Majority vote Carter Bear, so we're 2 for 2 with the Don in the chat. All right, Carter Bear locked in. Malcolm Spence goes to Nashville. Joshua Ravensbergen goes to Los Angeles, and that puts your hometown Chicago Blackhawks on the clock, Ant.
Okay, so can you scroll down a little bit? Because
Sure.
Jack Nesbitt, obviously 6'4", old-timey player. I'm going to go with Václav Nestrasil at 37 here. I think he's going to be the pick 6'6" out of Muskegon. He is somebody that in 8 games last year for Muskegon, he had 0 points and then just destroyed. One of his brothers actually was drafted in the 3rd round, Andre Nestrasil, a very long time ago. He has 4 brothers that all played hockey. This guy is just I think, a star in my opinion. It says 6'5" there, but he actually weighed in at 6'6" at the combine. I feel like this is just the kind of guy that the Blackhawks are going to take because it's high upside. You need those bigger players. If it's a what I think will happen, also it could be a guy like Milton Gastrin, who I really like, who's under him, but it's going to be Václav Nestrasil here. If a guy like Malcolm Spence, Carter Bear, even Mirko were there, obviously I think they would do that, but that's just not how the board fell. So Nestrasil has the highest upside.
And there was no hesitation with that pick whatsoever. I mean, if you needed any proof that Ant knows what he's talking about, right there. Like he wasn't even on the list of guys shown, and he knew that he wanted Václav Nestrasil. So we'll go Václav Nestrasil at 37 there for Chicago. I'm sorry, 25 for Chicago. And Logan Hensler goes right after, Radivojevic to the Capitals. Kerbin Limatov is off the board to Winnipeg. There you go, Bill Zonin to Calgary. Blake Fidler, the big right-handed defenseman, goes to Carolina. And we're back with the Flyers with pick 31. At the top of the boards, Jack Nesbitt, Jack Murtaugh, and William Horkoff, Sasha Bomediene. And where are we going here? Chat, who do you want here with pick 31? The Flyers' third and final first-round pick. And Ant, where do you go here?
I would go defense, and the best defenseman on the board left, unless Reed or somebody else. Can you scroll down to see if Reed is there? Because I don't
he
think
went pretty early, I believe. Let me see. Top 10, I think I saw. Yeah, 9.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be Boumediene. He is somebody that Victor Klingsell, who when he played him, he said he was the hardest player he ever had to play against because he was basically a mosquito out there. When you play a guy that just has this much upside, but also it has been that productive, I could see him going a lot higher. I've heard that the Blackhawks also have interest in him at 25 as well. He's going to go a lot higher than consensus. I think if he falls to 31 here, that's just the pick. I mean, he's ranked 31 as well, so that would kind of be the perfect play. But Boumediene is one of those guys that really played well on an international stage. He is playing in Boston University this year, and he actually did okay. It wasn't like anything bad. So I just feel like you would go for the guy that, I mean, he had 13 points in 40 games this season in the NCAA. Not bad. It was the same points that Logan Hensler had, and Logan Hensler, I think, is a little, I think probably Boumediene might have a higher floor than Hensler, but Hensler has the higher ceiling. So just go take him.
Okay. And it looks like so far we have consensus in the chat here, but I want to ask you a question. So a guy like William Horkoff is appealing to me. He's a center, has, NHL pedigree. His father played in the league. He's big body, 6'5". He's one of the younger guys in this draft. Is he in consideration at all for you with this pick, or are you just sold on Boumediene here?
Well, for me, it would be I would probably go Nesbitt over Horkoff if I was going to go 3 straight forwards here. But the thing is, yeah, you could go 3 straight and then just pick a defenseman at 36, someone like Simon Wang or Jacob Rombach, someone like that. But I think Boumediene just is falling here, even though in these rankings, he's not. Will Horkoff would be somebody I would draft 36 or 40. He had meetings with 31 of 32 teams in the NHL. The only one that actually wasn't was the Blackhawks. So I think Horkoff could definitely be the pick here. Really big, going to Michigan. I think that he plays a really good college game. He's heavy. Like he said, 6'5". I think that he has a ton of upside as like a third line center, in my opinion, maybe fourth, but I just can't see him being a 2C. I would just go for the left-handed defenseman that could potentially be like your 4th or 5th D on a team.
Okay. It looks like the chat somewhat agrees this is a more split pick than the other two, but we have a few more votes for Boumediene than we do for Horkoff. We have a vote for Jarofsky, and I think we had another vote for Charbonneau up there, but ultimately it looks like the chat agrees with you again, and we're going to take Sasha Boumediene at pick 31 for the Flyers. That'll wrap up the first round. Let's see how we finished here. Jacob Wozniak finishes at pick 32. And San Jose starts off the second round by taking Jack Murtaugh, center, Boston University. And that puts the Chicago Blackhawks on the clock with pick 34.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jack Nesbitt or Milton Gashin. I'll say Jack Nesbitt. He's 6'4", plays an old-style game, very hard to play against, definitely a playoff player. He was very productive, and I think he has more upside. A lot of these range is probably third-line players. I don't necessarily know if Jack Nesbitt would be the third-line center of the Blackhawks in the future, so maybe they go in a different direction. Obviously, actually, I'll go Shane Van Sage. I didn't know he was still on the board. He's really heavy, 216 from Michigan State, 42 over or 42 there. I think that this would just be the pick. You get a bottom six player that has a lot of upside that can absolutely hit anybody out there. He's a very good playoff player. I think that he is going to be an absolute NHL player. I'm not sure what his offensive upside is, but he is really good defensively, really good in transition, in my honest opinion. Has better vision than I thought. Every game I watched him at Michigan State Live, he scored. So that was a plus, and he only had like 5 or 6 goals. So, I like him a lot. I think that the Blackhawks would probably go here or Nesbitt. It's one of the two.
All right, let's go with your guy. Let's go with Van Sage here. The Blackhawks take a wing at pick 34. Horkoff goes to the next pick 35, and that puts the Flyers back on the clock with pick 36. Chat, let us know who you want at this pick 36 overall. And let's take a look at our board here. We'll do a quick recap of the first round. Flyers were able to let's go to my picks here. Okay, so we're drafting as well for the Chicago Blackhawks. That's where Anthony's from. That's his team that he follows. He's got Anton Frundell and Vaclav Nestrasil as 2 first-round picks. I think he made out okay there, Ant. Pretty good. And then we have 3 picks for the Flyers. They were able to take Jake O'Brien with pick 6, Carter Bear at pick 22, so they grabbed 2 centers in that first round, and Sasha Bomidian with their 31st overall pick. That will round out the first round of picks for our teams. And we'll head into round 2. Let's see if we have any consensus picks in the chat there.
I think this would be Nesbitt because it's just best player available. I'd be interested to see what the chat says. But yeah, like I said, old style game. I think that this would just be good. Obviously, you could go somewhere with more upside with like Prokhorov, or you kind of just want to take a goalie. But Jack Nesbitt in this sort of range, I really like. It's just kind of based on value. All of these guys are assets at the same time, in my honest opinion. If I'm a GM, you have to take best player available every single pick. So you can't really overthink things. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I was agreeing with you there. According to these rankings, he's fallen a little bit. We're at pick 36. He's ranked 24 here. It's almost, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but if you're going best available, Jack Nesbitt might be the pick, no?
I completely agree.
Okay, so at pick 36, looks like the Flyers are going to take Nesbitt according to the Don. And the chat agrees once again. Man, we have some smart viewers here. We're 4 for 4. I thought we were going to get a little pushback, maybe some disagreements, but it looks like our viewers are pretty good, Don. What can I say?
Hey, we need the debates. So bring your debates.
Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to pick your guy. Okay, so at pick 40, the Flyers are back on the board. They have 3 more picks in the second round. Milton Gastron's still there at the top. Cameron Schmidt is an intriguing player as their second on the board. Riker Lee, Adam Benak, Linus Funk. Where are we going for the Flyers at pick 40? Chat, let us know. And Prospect Don, what are you thinking here?
So it's obviously I really like Milton Gastron, but I'm going to cross him off the board just because of the 3 Cs that we've drafted recently in this mock, as well as Riker Lee was 5'7". He grew to 6 foot, and this guy is absolutely incredible. Yeah, committed to Michigan State. I feel like he grew up where I grew up, North Shore Circuit, and I've gotten to see him play a lot. Everybody knows really about Riker Lee around here. I think that he could be an absolute stud. But the thing about it is Cameron Schmidt is still a first round player on my board. If he's still on there and you have all of these assets, why not take a shot? I mean, these are all dartboard. It's like a dartboard. You just got to keep shooting. He would kind of be a triple 20. So you take Cam Schmidt, and if he doesn't hit, he doesn't hit. But this guy could be a very incredible 5-7 scorer for you. I mean, we've seen it work out time and time again. He's incredibly skilled. Craig Button had him at 8 earlier in the year. I had him similar to like 15, 16, but obviously height matters. This guy was ranked top 20 for most of the season until draft season really starts ramping up in like May. So I'm taking the guy that I had all year in the top 20, and that's Cam Schmidt.
And we have one person in the chat that agrees. And look, one thing about Danny Briere is he's not shy about taking some of these smaller sized guys. On the roster already are players like Bobby Brink, Jacob Peltier, who he traded for a while back in the Frost and Farabee deal. They have smaller defense, and he traded for a guy like Drysdale's on the smaller end. Cam York, I think, is on the smaller end there still. They're talking about bringing in a Maxim Shabanov. Zegras, I don't think is a bigger guy. I don't think he's as small as some of these other guys. Why not Cameron Schmidt? Add him to the team here. Let's see what we got in the chat. We only have one vote for Schmidt. Are we falling off here, guys? We have 600 live viewers, and our votes are kind of dwindling out here. Don't be shy. Makes for good conversation. So we'll go Cameron Schmidt, and we'll see if anything trickles in with that pick for the viewers here. That'll put the Flyers back on the clock. They've actually traded this pick, so this is not updated. So for this pick, we're going to be let's try to draft for Anaheim. Can we put you on the spot there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. For Anaheim, I like a player like obviously Milton Gashrin, Riker Lee. I think those two players would be fantastic for him. Luca Romano. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow at 11 a.m. I really like this guy. I feel like Jack Ivankovic could also go here, but just best player available on my board, I'm going to say Milton Gashrin, who I think is a first-round talent. Pat Verbeek is not shy to take these kind of players. Obviously, I think that he is a third-line center, in my opinion, but he was the leader of the Swedish team. I think that this guy possesses a lot of skill. I think that he is going to get into the front of the net time and time again. He can go on your power play, screen the goalie. He's really good hands. I just think Milton Gashrin would be the pick here for Anaheim. But I think you guys got an absolute steal with Trevor Zegras. So shout out, Flyers fans for getting him. He was one of my favorite players in 2019. Somebody that I wanted the Blackhawks to take at 3rd overall. So yeah, now that you guys got him, I just say, yeah, keep going, keep throwing these dartboards.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, it takes us to our last pick of our mock draft, our last pick for the Flyers in the second round here. Available on the board, at top of the list anyway, is Riker Lee, Julius Sari, Jack Ivankovic, Carter Amico, and Roman Balsov. There are the top candidates on this board. So we'll wait for the chat to get some names in here at pick 48. And where do you go here?
I wanted to shout out Mason West because he's really 6'6" and a quarter, and he's playing football one more year at Adena High for his senior year. And then he's going to go to Michigan State. He just committed in 2026. I think he's going to go in the first round, but I already picked so many centers. I think that it's going to be someone like Frolov or Jack Ivankovic, who are both of the goalies. We saw Cam Robinson say that Frolov is starting to get some first round love, but I will pick Jack Ivankovic because he's my top goalie on the board. His dad is 6'5". He was a goalie. This guy, Porter Martone, picked who the best player he ever played against or player was that he would want to bring to the NHL with him, a teammate. And he was also teammates with Matthew Schaefer. He said Ivankovic because of how good he is. I really like that. I think that this guy is an absolute stud, cool, calm, and collective in net. He won gold for Team Canada against that, Avengers Team Sweden. where they brought everybody that they had to try to get gold, because they had 5 straight bronze medals. So if it's not Frolov, who I think could go higher than Jack because he's 5'11", but the one thing I will say is Jack's dad, Frank, he grew at 20 years old from his big growth spurt, and I heard that Jack is still growing. So if this guy grows even 2 inches or 3 inches, he is going to be a very incredible player. I think he's already an NHL starting caliber goalie in my projections of him, but he could be elite. Obviously, he's 5'11". His comparisons are UC Saros, as well as he mentioned Dustin Wolf, but it was Ottinger, just because of how cool, calm, and collective they are. I just feel like this is going to be the guy that is on my top board for the next 5 years for this class. So it's probably going to be Frolov. He might be the better value pick here, but I'm going Jack.
Okay, that's where we went. And we had one vote for Frolov in the chat there, but I think it seems consensus the chat wants to go goalie. So yeah, they're pretty much on the same page with you again there.
Yeah. And the thing about Frolov is actually he was a 3rd round goalie until probably the last couple days in the projections. So when you're in the late 2nd, early 3rd round, and now we're starting to hear that he might be a 1st round pick, it's because he was hidden for a reason. This guy was always really good. I tried to interview him way back when. Like, I was on the train a little bit, but not 1st round pick. I was thinking, top 60, but this is a guy that is probably going to make the NHL. He's going to be a high riser, kind of like Adam Guyan in 2023, when Michael Harabel, Jacob Fowler, all those guys were ranked above Adam Guyan, but then Adam Guyan was picked 35 overall as the first goalie in the draft. So I feel like Frolov is going to kind of do that.
Well, I mean, I would be happy with that. It looks like some of the fans in the chat would be happy with that. Hey, if they can find a way to get some of the centers that they got and find a goalie and a big D the way that you drafted for them, I think they made out pretty good. That is going to take us to the end of our 2025 mock draft with the Prospect On episode. Prospect On, what do you have that you want to get out there? What do you have? I mean, I know you got a lot going on this week. You go ahead and promote yourself.
I just had a show with Stephen Ellis that, premiered the other day. Hot Take Hockey, who was in the chat, we did a mock draft together. I have multiple mock drafts coming out. I just posted one with Mike Bartner and the Isles House guy, who's a top 15 NHL pod. I just got notified that I will be NHL draft credentialed. It takes a little while to find out, but I did find out. So I'm going to have a draft press box. I got to do a couple more push-ups to try to get on my suit, but I don't want to look that big out there.
Great.
I got stuff coming on X, at the Prospect On, YouTube, at the Prospect On TikTok, even though I don't know how that works very much, but it's also at the Prospect On. I tried to keep it consistent for everybody out there. I have so many shows and collabs I'm going on. I'm going on 2 more tonight. I had one at 7. I had one at 6, and then 7, and then 8 and 9. I will take anything I can right now. I just love talking this stuff because my friends are blocking me at this point because I only want to talk about like Frolov or like the 90th ranked player on my board, and it's just like I understand why people don't want to talk to me about this in my friend group, but I have a ton of stuff coming out. So if you want to check me out there, obviously my YouTube is at the Prospect On, but we're always mock drafting over there. So if you want to follow me, subscribe to me, you go over there and do it. Thank you.
You're doing outstanding work, man. It was a pleasure having you on. So there you have it, everyone. Another 2025 NHL mock draft. This one straight from the Prospect Don himself. If you think you can outsmart the Don, drop your picks in the comments. We'll be watching. And if you enjoyed this collab and want more draft coverage, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep it high, keep it wide, and we'll see you next time on HW Hockey. Bye-bye.